Banned candies that can kill. Candies? Is your mouth watering at the thought of your favorite treat? Well, you might want to hold off because not all candies are as good as we think they are. Be it kids or adults, everyone has a thing for candies, and I don't mean to blame anyone because those things are just that yummy. So it's okay if you have a sweet tooth and can't help it at the sight of candies. But make sure you double-check the ingredients and become aware of what you're taking in because sometimes these factory-made things are so harmful they can end up taking your life. We've all heard about the Coke and Mentos theory, right? So today, I'll talk about a few candies that got banned because they were literally poison to our bodies. Let's get into it. Number 1. Toxic Waste Nuclear Sludge Chew Bar. I don't get why someone would give a name like that to a candy bar which was originally meant for kids. But anyway, it's just a name. The candy, in fact, is pretty toxic. If you've been buying these candy bars for your kids and they're still okay, well, you're very lucky because these candies have a high concentration of lead in them. This was checked by the California Department of Public Health, who indeed confirmed it. The candy was manufactured in Pakistan, and sadly, the company selling it made a pretty lousy check on the ingredients and health issues. Lead poisoning in humans can cause terrible effects and is extremely alarming for pregnant women or children under the age of 6. And honestly, that's the age when children are all about candy. But it's all good now, since you most probably won't find these candy bars in stores anymore. At number 2, Nestle Magic Ball. One of the kids' favorite treats over the decades was none other than the Nestle Magic Ball because it came with exciting gifts and some chocolate goodness. Well, what went wrong? Well, it turns out the treat was illegal. This is because consumer groups debated that it came with a plastic toy within it that wasn't actually a treat. And according to a few legal acts, the candy bar was obviously violating the law because it was packing plastic toys in between edible items. Now, I don't disagree here either. Well, anyway, Mars was the company that stood against its competitor and claimed that this chocolate bar was in fact a choking hazard, and the government was in full support of it. Therefore, the chocolate bar eventually ended up having a downfall because of the plastic toys and a tarnished reputation with all the criticism. Coming in at number 3, Haribo Sugar-Free Gummy Bears. One of the biggest names in the candy industry is held by none other than Haribo. The company has produced and manufactured many candy products and is usually on the top list of favorites for people. But did you know that their sugar-free gummy bears, which were originally designed to benefit people with sugar intolerances, turned out to be more harmful than one could have ever imagined? It came to light and alarmed people after a consumer posted a review on Amazon stating that the candy had potentially damaged his colon to a great extent. So apparently, the gummies contain a sugar substitute, lycosine, which has yet another compound that's harmful to our bodies. It's because the compound doesn't get digested by our gut and starts accumulating. Imagine a factory-made syrup compound constantly accumulating in your gut. It has to be harmful, right? Well, according to studies, just 40% of this compound in your system can cause a great amount of damage, as it has a potential to cause diarrhea. Beware of what you eat. Number 4, Smarties. The reason for the ban on this candy is pretty silly, but what's harmful is harmful, right? Also, this candy isn't banned everywhere. It's just in a few particular schools and areas where children are greatly influenced by the drug world. What caused alarm and got these candies banned was the fact that children would go in their classroom and would powder the candy and snort it. I mean, first things first, who taught them how snorting drugs work? Because it was obvious that they were imitating it, right? And we all know the problems that snorting any kind of powder up your nose can cause. Asthma, difficulty breathing, and nasal infections are common ones. Therefore, the company had to bear the cost of the rapidly spreading drug culture because it had to ban these from places where young kids could easily find them. The promotion of drugs from a children's candy is by far the worst thing to hear. Coming in at number 5, Hippie Sippy. In the late 60s, this candy didn't have a very good reputation in the market because of several reasons. As soon as the candy hit the shelves, parents were outraged because the candy came in a plastic syringe, which made the children mimic drug use. The design of the candy wasn't meant to offend anyone and was only supposed to be creative, but sadly, it wasn't taken very well. But that's just one problem. The candy was a multicolored treat, and I guess you know where this is going. The colors added to the children's candy were very harmful for health overall and were even said to be fatal. No parent would want to buy their kids something that looks like a drug and would be harmful to the body. The candy, therefore, received immediate criticism and was taken down as soon as it hit the shelves. I guess the creativity of the candy creator ended up costing them a little bit too much. At number 6, Chinese candy medicine. Over the years, China has introduced and manufactured all sorts of weird stuff, and surprisingly, the foreign trade industry has bought almost every product that it launched. But I guess China went a little too far with this one. The company that produced these candies was apparently trying to pull some elaborate joke on consumers. These candies were originally said to be pills and medication for people suffering from mental illness and depression, just like any other pills that your psychologist might prescribe. However, it turns out that this so-called pill was just candy. It had nothing to do with depression or mental illness. Apparently, they were testing out human psychology and medicine with the claims that depression pills don't do anything and it's just a trick of the mind. The Chinese government didn't take this very well, and even though not much action was taken against the candy company, the government advised people not to purchase these candies and to stop promoting such elaborate industrial jokes. Anyone would have gotten offended. I mean, it's just very rude and mean. Number 7, lollipipe. Sometimes I just don't get what it is with people trying to be creative with candy. Just make it good tasting, and that's all we need, right? How hard can that be? So basically, this candy was never meant to be bought for kids, but since it was in fact a candy made to look like a pipe, kids just couldn't resist. And not just any pipe. The pipe was in the shape of a weed smoking pipe, which caused outrage among parents. It wasn't first available in stores and was just usually found online, which was fine because at least it was out of reach of children's eyes. But soon after, it made its appearance on the market shelves. Things went downhill for the company then. There was mass criticism at the shape of this candy pipe as it was obviously promoting drugs and weed, and other than that, it was simply very harmful, since it was huge in size and was pretty much just sugar. So it was obvious that one of these could cause enough damage. So if candy companies are watching this, how about you guys make candies that don't offend anyone and are safe for children? Because let's face it, the next coming generation's obviously faced with enough hazards as it is. Moving on to number 8, Candies cigarettes? I guess you all know what's coming. Another candy with an offensive design and harmful to health. Would you want to buy your kid something that might potentially promote smoking and drugs? Obviously no, right? Well, candy makers don't understand that, I guess. Candy cigarettes gained a lot of popularity at first because they were new and tasted good. But later, these candies got criticized by almost every parent who had to see their children act as if they were smoking. The drama that these candies created was a little bit too much, but again, I don't blame the parents because it is socially unacceptable to teach your children such hazardous acts. And talking about socially unacceptable, well, smoking is one of the biggest acts that's generally frowned upon, and that's why you see those no smoking banners everywhere you go. No one likes smoking except smokers. Many people who are chain smokers today were questioned, and about 22% of them had these candies in their childhood. That was enough proof to make the claims against the candy and get it banned. If you want these candy companies to stop producing such offensive stuff, then there's one thing you can obviously do. Stop purchasing their products. They'll learn their lesson when they see a huge loss coming their way. Okay, let's take a look at number 9, Valentine's hearts. What harm could a cute little heart candy do? Well, it turns out schools weren't very happy with these candies because kids were purchasing them in bulk on Valentine's and were having them like crazy. I mean, the concept of the candy is nice, with cute messages written on them, but the sugar rush amongst the kids during school time was making things get out of control. Children were getting hyperactive during their learning hours because of the high levels of sugar present in these candies, and therefore, it was advised greatly to every parent to stop purchasing these for their kids, and schools also banned them. I mean, I get that little children like expressing their feelings through cute means, but these candies were not so much the right way. Imagine the teachers having to deal with all the hyperactive kids during Valentine's week. That must have been a handful. And finally, number 10, roadkill gummy candy. And we have yet another offensive candy in the picture. We all love animals, right? And we also greatly acknowledge the fact that their rights are supposed to be maintained and taken care of. But it turns out this company didn't think so. The candies were in shapes of animals that were physically harmed and were supposed to be a joke. But I guess animal rights authorities and environmentalists didn't take the joke very well, since the candy was obviously promoting the fact that it was okay to harm animals and cause damage to them. The candy was also greatly criticized because not only was the shape offensive, but it was also made up of many harmful food colorings and syrups that have the potential to cause damage to our bodies. I don't blame critics and parents for speaking up against these candy packs because, very honestly, the company deserved it. If you thought it was okay to have these candies, well, you're at fault here too. Well, that brings us to the end of this video, but don't go yet because there's something you need to do. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and while you're at it, give this video a thumbs up. Let us know in the comments below about your favorite candy and what you love about it. Stay tuned for more amazing content. Stay safe.